Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Bir Pratap Singh and I welcome you all back to Civils360, my dear friends. So the today's session, in this particular session, my dear friends, we shall be majorly discussing on the ideas that how is the UPSC creating the questions and what is the art of solving these MCQs. Why? Because my dear friends, the UPSC's prelims is very much difficult to crack generally for the examiners, for the aspirants, and the aspirants think that it is one of the toughest thing. And yes, I totally do agree. It is one of the toughest things until and unless you haven't done these two things. First is understanding the mindset of the examiner, that what the examiner expects from you, and secondly is the idea that art of solving the MCQs. So it is basically a science. MCQs are a science. I have had multiple students who have consistently cleared the prelims, not once, not twice, but 5 times on a continuous basis, in spite of them not giving in that many hours that a normal aspirant gives in. Most probably 12, 13 hours or 10 hours, whatever the normal aspirant does. But these people, these aspirants, these candidates, they did not give in those many hours. The reason is they have understood, they have decoded the art of solving MCQs. They have decoded the examiner's mindset, and with that particular mindset, they are on a continuous basis, they are clearing these examinations. So that is what I am, that is what we shall be doing here basically, okay, in these particular set of MCQs. So here, okay, now when we talk about these MCQs, let us just go through these history MCQs that are there. Now see, there are certain aspects that you need to keep in mind in the context of history. Okay, now what are these aspects when you talk in the context of history? So the aspect of the history is that the examination, just keep this thing in mind, that if a statement is given to you by the examination, never ever that particular, in history, extremes are going to be right. Means, for example, if there is a statement that this thing was found during this point of time only, no, so that cannot be the option. Why? Because if something that has been excavated today, or if something that has been found today, maybe 10 years from now, that may not be the only thing that is there. There might be something other aspects as well. So that is something that you need to focus upon. Okay. So the examination, it will ask you questions pertaining to this particular dimension. So you just have to keep your brains open at that point of time while you solve it, and which we shall be understanding here. Okay, so let's go through the first question. Which of the following rulers were referred to as Chakravartins for the pan-India conquest? Ashoka, Samudragupta, Harshvardhan, or Pulakeshin? And here you have to answer the correct one. So prior to jumping to a conclusion, always read this particular statement. Here the examination generally gives correct, or it can also give incorrect. Okay, so you need to keep a tab on this, because many aspirants, just they've read this, directly they come to a conclusion and they miss this part, and that is where they get wrong. So even a 0.10 marks can affect your selection. So just pause the video and try solving this particular question. Pause it and try solving it. So I hope you have done it. Now here when we talk about the question, so what are they referring to? Rulers. Okay, so all the four are rulers. Secondly, that the question is telling which of these rulers have been referred to as Chakravartins. Okay, for their pan-India conquest. For their pan-India conquest. So here they are telling pan-India. Now this is the point that will help you solve this question. Now you just have to refer to this as who have done their pan-India conquest. Now pan-India does not mean that 100% covering all of India. No, that is not there. Majority part of the Indian subcontinent. At that point of time when we are talking about India, it means the Indian subcontinent. Okay, so who has done majorly, tried to cover the Indian subcontinent aspect? We know about Ashoka. Yes, he has done the pan-India level conquest at that point of time of the Mauryan Empire, and he was known as the Chakravartin. That is there. You just have to, eliminate this. You just have to focus on pan-India conquest. Okay, you need to keep that thing in mind. Samudragupta, yes, even he had done the expeditions at the pan-India level. Harshvardhana, yes, even he did it in the pan-India level. That means you're not the whole of India. not the south of river Narmada, but he did it in the whole of North India and the northwestern frontier area. Okay, so that was the extent of the control that he is going to have at that point of time. Okay, whereas Pulakeshin, he was only located in the, Deccan belt. So he was only there in the Deccan belt, and he is not going to go on the pan India level. So this is not there. So if you eliminate fourth, okay, if you eliminate fourth, you get only two options, and here you know that third is correct. So the answer here, it is going to be known as B. Okay, the answer here, it is B. The second question, when we talk about, okay, the second question, all right, so this is the second question. Pause the video and solve it. Pause the video and solve it, and then we shall go ahead with this. Pause the video and solve this thing. Okay, pause the video and solve it. Now, when we talk on this particular aspect, consider the following statements. All right, so statement 1, Fa Hein and Hyun Sang, they are important foreign sources of ancient India. Now, this particular point, okay, let's just read it out first. Statement 2 is, both were Chinese Buddhist pilgrims who visited India. Okay. Statement 3 is, both visited India during the reign of Harshvardhana. Okay. Now, from all these three statements, let us just try to eliminate the things. Now, here when we talk on the elimination aspect, just focus on this particular elimination aspect. Okay. That elimination, it is going to be like Fa Hein. Now, what do we know? That there are going to be three Chinese travelers who came to India. That was Fa Hein, who had come during the time period of Chandragupta. Okay. Then there was Hyun Sang. Okay, Hyun Sang, he had come during the time period of Harshvardhana. And then there was Ait Singh. Ait Singh came after the death of Harshvardhana. Okay. And these persons, Fa Hein, he had written the work known as Fa Kyo Ki, and Hyun Sang had written the work Si Yu Ki. Now these two works, these two literary works, they were the major source of information that helped us decode the Gupta dynasty information and the Harshvardhan information. So the first statement is correct. Yes, they are important foreign sources of ancient India. Second is that both of these, they were Chinese Buddhist pilgrims. Yes, because I have just mentioned, and it is there. It is a very basic question. Okay, that they had come in India to learn more about Buddhism at that point of time. Then the third one is that both visited India during the reign of Harshvardhana. Did they? Why? Because Fa Hein, he came during the time period of the 5th century AD. So Fa Hein is not going to be the answer. Only Hyun Sang had come during his point. So that is why the third statement is wrong. So now when we look which of the following statement is correct in with respect to above statements. So both statement 1 and 3 are correct, and both of them explain statement 1. Okay. So 2 and 3 are correct. No. So this is wrong. Both 2 and 3 are correct. Here 3 they are telling, but only one of them explains statement 1. No. Only one of statement 2 and 3 is correct, and that explains statement 1. Neither statement 2 nor statement 3 is correct, but 2 is correct. So this is also not there. So you eliminate it and you get the answer as C. Why? Because only one of statement 2 and 3 is correct. Okay, so this is how you can solve this up. All right, let's go to the third question. Okay, pause the question, pause the video and try solving this particular question. Pause the video and try solving this. All right, so I hope you have solved it. Now, let us start with it. The first Indian empire in Magad benefited from. Which was the first Indian empire in Magad? It is going to be the Haryanka dynasty, okay, which was during the time period of the Mahajanpadas. So Haryanka, then the Sishunak, and then the Nanda, and then finally the Mauryas. So which these particular dynasties which resided in the Magad area was where? In the area of Bihar. So these dynasties, they benefited from which of the following? Access to tin from Burma, iron ore deposits south of the region, gold mines in Karnataka, and copper from Singhbhum. Okay, now which from the following majorly benefited these empires? Will the tin from Burma benefit? No, tin was already found in the Bihar area, but here they have added this one thing that makes this statement wrong. Okay, then gold mines from Karnataka. At that point of time, when you talk of the Mahajanpadas, only the Asmak Mahajanpad was there near the Godavari. All right, so at that point of time, there is going to be the the big Stone Age culture that is going to be there in South India, that is Mesolithic time period, and copper mines from Singhbhum. All right, so from here when you see the safest aspect here, it is going to be the iron ore deposits south of the region, because this, what are they telling? South of the region where? South of the Bihar. And it was because of this only that a lot of trading in iron and steel and a lot of equipments were generally created in this particular aspect. So the answer here, it is going to be B. So you need to think that which particular things have been purposely put in the option and which things can be naturally there. So the natural ones are generally the answers and not the purposeful ones are the answers. So that is going to be there. Okay, next. Consider the following statements. Okay, pause and solve the question. Pause and solve the question. Okay, let us go through it. Consider the following events: appearance of Homo sapiens in India, all right, use of hand axes and cleavers of Sohan Valley, okay, discovery of microlith in Chota Nagpur, okay, Neolithic pit dwellings of Burzaum. Which of the following is the correct chronological order? Now the UPSC focuses a lot on chronological understanding of history. Chronology and contemporary. UPSC will ask such questions in chronology, okay, and they can also ask in the contemporary that during the time period of Buddha, which were the contemporary people who are going to be there here. Okay, so that is also what they will be asking. Now when we talk on this, just look at this. When we talk use of hand axes and cleavers in Sohan Valley, now what do we know? That this particular hand axes and cleavers, it is, now here they are basically talking about Stone Age, right? You have found the essence that they are talking about Stone Age. Why? Because when we talk about Homo sapiens, the Homo sapiens, they are generally around 1 lakh years old. 1 to 1.5 lakh years old Homo sapiens are there, the sentient human beings. All right. So when we talk about the Stone Ages, in the Stone Ages here, microlith, hand axes, what are they? They are stone tools. So when were hand axes? When were hand axes and cleavers used? So this was used during the Paleolithic age. It is quite, readable. It is quite, so here you have to do this analysis that hand axes and cleavers, when they were used in the Paleolithic ages. After that, and the Paleolithic age, what are you aware about? The Paleolithic age, it is going to be from the 20 lakh years time period till the particular time period of 12,000 BC. After that, microlith, it is of the Mesolithic age. So Mesolithic age, that means it is around 8,000 to 10,000 BC. 8,000 to 10,000 BC. Okay, and then Neolithic. When is the Neolithic time period? It is somewhat around 6,000 BC onwards. Okay, and what do we understand here? The Homo sapiens, they are generally 1 lakh. So I am not telling that you have to have accurate information. I am telling that even with whatever limited knowledge you have, you can very well solve such questions. Why? Because my agenda of UPSC is that you do not have to know everything, and whoever people tell you that you need to know everything, no, that is not there. UPSC is a generalized examination, and even with general knowledge, with apt logical, analytical, conceptual power, you can clear the examinations. We do not know from where the UPSC asks, so it is totally impossible for us to know everything. And whoever tells you that you need to know everything, the UPSC can ask from any, you do not know what the UPSC can ask. So do not predict, rather develop what the UPSC wants to develop in you, and that is a mindset where logic, analysis, conceptuality and application of that knowledge is required. So that is what you have done here, that hand axes and cleavers, Paleolithic. So this is the oldest one, so this will be first. Okay, then there is Homo sapiens, that is second, then there is the Mesolithic age, that is third, and then there is the Burzahum, that is fourth. So 2, 1, 3, 4. Where is 2, 1, 3, 4? So the answer, it is going to be A. So that is how you generally have to do this particular aspect of, that is how you generally have to do this particular aspect that is going to be the question. All right. Now, let us move to the next question. Okay. Just read the question here. Just read the question, guys, and try solving it. Read the question and try solving it. Means let us not look at the option. Option is irrelevant for now. Such statement like questions, you can very well solve it here. Okay. Then when we talk, consider the following statements. Statement 1, the Chalcolithic phase in India marks the transition from Stone Age to metal. When is the Chalcolithic? That is going to be, after the, means prior to the Bronze Age, that is prior to the Harappan civilization, which was known as the Bronze Age. Okay. And after the Neolithic. After the Neolithic, there is the Chalcolithic. Until Neolithic, there was Stone Age. And Chalcolithic started because the first metal, it was discovered by man in the Indian subcontinent, and that is copper. So the first statement, the Chalcolithic phase in India marks the transition from stone to metal tools. Yes, this is correct. Statement 2 is copper was the first metal used in India. Yes, because prior to copper, what was used generally? It is going to be used as the, stones. Statement 3 is bronze tools were widely used in Chalcolithic. No, this is clearly means this is eliminatable, right? Because bronze tools was first time used during the time period of Harappan civilization, which we call as the bronze civilization, right? So statement 3 is incorrect. So wherever we find statement 3, we are going to eliminate it. Okay. So here statement 3 is incorrect. C and D is also incorrect. Here D is incorrect. So the answer here, what do we find it? It is going to be A. Okay. That is there. Now the next one. Just pause and solve it. Now, consider the following statements. Statement 1, Harappan cities, they were among the most systematically planned urban centers of the Bronze Age. Yes, Harappan cities, we know that they were urban centers, so they were systematically planned, and here also Bronze Age. So this statement we can tell correct. Statement 2 is Harappan cities followed a grid pattern with roads intersecting at right angles. Now this particular point, even if you do not know, now this statement is correct. Okay, why? Because Harappan cities, and when we talk about their roads, so they are going to follow a grid like pattern where the roads had intersected each other at right angles. Now when we talk on this scenario, okay, here what can you understand is that even if you do not know the points here, you need to see that which statement complements or supplements, okay, or which statement is opposite to the other one. So here this statement is supplementing this, complementing this, so it is a positive aspect. But if it would have been contrast to the first aspect, then it would have been a different one. Okay, so that is there. So second one is also correct. Then statement 3, that Harappan cities lacked public architecture and civic infrastructure. Alright, so that is going to be there. So this is opposing, this is contrast. So statement 3 automatically gets incorrect. Alright, so both 1 and 3 are correct. So no. Both 2 and 3 are correct. No. Only one of 2 and 3 are correct. Yes. So answer is going to be C. Answer is going to be C. The next question, just try solving this. Okay, the next question, that is, which river is repeatedly mentioned in the Rig Vedic as per the river as the river par excellence? Okay, so here when we talk on this aspect, many of the aspirants, they will be selecting the answer as Saraswati, but Saraswati has not been mentioned that many times in Rig Veda compared to Sindhu. Okay, so here the answer is going to be Sindhu, and it is quite understandable. Now, with reference to the later Vedic period, the term Samyas or Krishna Ayas refers to what? Try solving this. Here what do we know is that here, so the metals, now tin, copper, zinc, bronze, all of these metals, what was their Sanskrit name? That is going to be, that can be asked in the examination. So from here when we talk about the ayas, it is a metal. Okay, so here what do we know is that ayas, it is going to be the therefore iron. So you have to do that thing, that which of the particular metals and what are their Sanskrit names. Okay, the next one, here this question, it is associated with what? Jainism. Okay, so Jainism and Buddhism, they are one of the major topics that can be asked to you in the examination. So try solving it. Try solving it. So here when we talk on this aspect, okay, here when we talk on this particular aspect, what can we understand is that the reference to ancient India, okay, which of the following epithets were commonly associated with Mahavira? So was he known as Jinnah, was he known as Nayaputta, or was he known was he known as Tirthankara? So this was also a common expected question, because the UPSC generally tends to ask you questions pertaining to the also known as names of Vardhaman Mahavira and Gautam Buddha. So everyone is aware that he was known as Jinnah. Why? Because in Jainism, whoever had conquered their emotions, okay, whoever had conquered themselves, they were known as Jinnah, and those Jinnahs, when they had a lot of followers, they were known as Tirthankar. So we know that Mahavira was the 24th Tirthankar, and he was also known as Jinnah. So 1 and 3 are correct. So many of the aspirants, they would never have read about Nayaputta. So Nayaputta, it basically, he was also known by the Nayaputta. Why? Because it was referring to the clan of his. Okay, so that is why here the answer is going to be all the three. That is 1, 2 and 3. That is C. Okay, so here you will also have to know that Buddhism, the aspect of Buddhism. Okay, so which of the following were part of the Eightfold Path taught by Gautam Buddha? So everyone is aware that Gautam Buddha, once he gained the enlightenment, that is the nirvana, he is going to tell the people about the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths, they were Arya, Satya. Now when we talk about the Arya Satya, what do we understand here is that these particular Arya Satya, okay, that there is dukkha, all right, and the reason for that dukkha, that means sorrow, is desire, and there is a way to solve that particular sorrow and eliminate desire, because until and unless there would be desire, there would be sorrow. And if you want to eliminate your sorrow, that means if you want to eliminate your desire, you'll have to follow the eightfold path. And there he is going to talk about 8 things, that is, samyak drishti, samyak vachana. Samyak means right. Okay, so all of those things, so right action, right livelihood, right meditation, all right, and right worship. So here from this, select the correct answer using the code. Now here this can be solved by elimination. Now how come elimination? So here it is because of the elimination that there is right action. So will right action lead to elimination of the karmas, elimination of the particular desires? Yes. Right livelihood, it will lead to elimination of desire. Right meditation means you will have a control over your brain. But right worship, will right worship lead to elimination of your desires? No. So that is the odd man out. So the fourth one is the odd man out. So if you eliminate, the answer you get is A. Then the next one is, with reference to ancient India, which one of the following were the key doctrines taught by Jainism? Try solving this particular thing. Try solving this. Okay, so here when you talk on this particular scenario, what can you understand? Okay, here when you talk on this scenario, what can you understand? Here if you just look at the Jainism, okay, if you just look at Jainism, what can you understand here? What can you understand here? What is the answer? The answer here, it is going to be that how could you have solved this up? You could have solved on the 5 vows of Jainism. So what were the 5 vows? 4 vows. The initial 4 vows, they were spoken up by the 23rd Tirthankar, that is Lord Parshvanath, and the 5th vow, it was by Vardhaman Mahavira. So the 4 vows, they are going to be, Satya, Satya, Asteya, all right. So there were the 5 vows that are going to be given. All right. So Satya, Asteya, Aparigraha, and then there was the Brahmachari. So when we talk about all of these 5 vows, so what are we going to say is that from those particular vows, what can, which particular option can we correlate? Why? Because here when we talk about the correlation, the UPSC or any of the Jainism, okay, so it can be easily solved. For example, there is Satya, Asteya, Ahimsa, aparigraha, and then there is going to be the brahmacharya. So which of the following options they correlate with this? Why? Because Jainism talks about this, plus Jainism is talking about KFC, that means right knowledge, right faith, and right conduct. Okay, so Jainism is also talking on that. So which of the following? Non-violence, yes, it is being spoken. Truthfulness, yes, it is being spoken. Continence and accumulation of wealth. Now when we talk about accumulation of wealth, what do we understand? See, 1 and 2 is correct. When we talk about accumulation of wealth, here there is one thing, aparigraha. Okay, all right. Asteya means no stealing. Aparigraha means non-accumulation of wealth. Non-accumulation of wealth. So here they are telling accumulation of wealth. So 3, if you eliminate, okay, so automatically you get the answer. So here we know first is also the answer, and here there is no first. So this also we can eliminate, and the answer is A. So that is how you can basically solve this particular type of question. All right. Let's move to the next question. All right, so now read this up and solve it up.